Hi, beautiful people. It's Sam Bennett from therealsambennett.com here with my besties, Lauren Vestal and Joey Lai. Hello, beautiful people. Great to see you. We are here today to talk about how to de-stress your way to success. Sound counterintuitive? You bet. Works? You bet. And we know something about getting things done and living in a world that seems to demand more of you than maybe you feel like you have to give, and yet also maybe you don't feel like you're bringing your best to every situation. So let's see if we can get underneath some of that. We're going to start by doing the thing that I love to start, which is breathing. We're going to inhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 7, exhale for a count of 8. Oh, I'm getting a big shuffle sound. What's happening there? Are you guys hearing that background noise?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, you are? Then maybe it's me.
All right, here, I'm muting you. There we go. Okay. So we're going to start by breathing, just to center into this present moment. If this is all you get from this, from our little intensive here today, then I think it'll be well worthwhile. I've been doing this little 4-7-8 breathing since the late 80s. And I have to say, it kind of works for everything. Stress, health crisis, financial crisis, traffic, Trader Joe's parking lot, you name it. So here's the trick. Let your belly go really soft. This is not a moment for good posture. Well, yes, good posture, but let your belly go soft. And we're going to inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8, and we'll do that 3 times. I'll count us through it. If you want to ignore it, of course, fine. But most people find it to be very pleasant. So maybe let your hands go loose and open in an attitude of receiving. You give so much to everyone all day. This can be your hour to receive, to be cared for, to care for yourself. You ready? Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Delightful. Delightful. So before we dive into all this, I'd love to know, for those of you who are here with us live, for you to type into the chat, like, what's stressing you out? What gets in your way of de-stressing? And Lauren, I want to sort of hand it over to you and hear, what do you hear from your clients and students about daily? Oh, maybe I should let you guys introduce yourselves. Let's do that first. Okay. Hi, I'm Sam, but that's not the important part of the story. Lauren, go ahead and tell the nice people a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Hi. Well, welcome everybody who's here, and Sam, thanks for having us. And that is a major part of the story. So, my name is Lauren Vestal. I'm a coach at Symmetry. We help high achievers take back control of their lives so they have more time, more energy, and less stress. And we do that really by focusing on the breath as our primary focus. So that's just a quick 2 seconds about me, but I live in Memphis. I moved here from Manhattan, so that was a little bit of a change, but here we are.
Transition, yeah. You're very dark on screen. I don't know if you've got a way to get in front of a window or get a little more light on your face.
Do a little shift.
Oh, there she is.
I've got a toddler slide blurred in the background here.
That's who among us does not have toddler slide. Fantastic. Thank you, Lauren. And Joey, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, darling.
Hello, everyone. I'm Joey Lai, 2021 Olympic bronze medalist. I help female leaders own the seat they've earned at the table and maximize the output from their team. I grew up in Toronto. I moved to the US to pursue a college career in sports. I played hockey and softball at Williams College, went on to coach for 12 years in the NCAA, as well as play 12 years with the Canadian national team, ending at the podium in Tokyo. So
just in case. Boom, mic drop. Okay. Any other questions about success and getting things done? Okay, good.
Awesome. And I'm very excited to be here with you today and to pour into you.
Yes, this is the nature of people too, right? That we're good at giving to others, right? We're good at giving to others. So I want you all to, those of you who are here with us live, those of you who are watching the recording, hi, thanks for being with us. I want you to take a moment to really acknowledge yourself for how much you pour into other people, how much you show up for other people, how much, like Lauren and Joey taking time out of their lives to share with you. So yeah, I'm curious what's stressing you out. Sarah says eviction, that'll stress you out. But like so many moments of change, an incredible moment of transformation. Colleen says, so excited to be here with y'all. Hey, Colleen. Lauren, why don't you take us through a little bit of what some of the of your rap about stress, about breathing, and about getting more.
Yeah. So I guess one of the things that I noticed, we asked you guys when you signed up for this webinar, kind of what the number one problem or issue you were facing when it comes to achieving your goals. And there were a lot of common themes, a lot of fear, overwhelm, anxiety, feeling kind of scattered or like you're a whirlwind, not knowing where to start. Like there was a long list, but there were a lot of common themes. And I think one of the things that we really like to focus on with our clients is creating general awareness and knowing where you're starting so that you can move towards change. So we do that with focusing on the breath and really using it as a tool to be able to calm down the nervous system, calm down your emotional state. And we really use it from a scientific, physiological perspective. So we teach you about the breath, and I can talk a little bit more about that and kind of the three things that we really like to focus on in an everyday basis that can be total game changers in kind of getting you calm and settled as well.
Yeah, definitely. So go deeper into that. I want to hear more about that.
Cool. Yeah. So we talk about three things for our everyday breathing, and this doesn't count towards, hard workouts or super stressful situations, like, some of the things that you guys mentioned in your comments. But the first thing we want to focus on is breathing through the nose. And I've heard from people like, well, what does it matter? I know, like a breath coach, like I know how to breathe. I breathe all the time. And you're right. The breath is something that we do. It's actually the only system in our body that is automatic, but it's also under our control. And we can use it again as a tool. So breathing through your nose, though, is huge. The nose is actually made for breathing. It warms the air, filters the air, humidifies the air, basically preps it for our lungs. Yes, thanks, Sam. And also, we produce nitric oxide in our sinuses, and that is antibacterial, antimicrobial. So basically helps your immune system, like gives us a little boost. And you don't get that benefit if you're breathing through the mouth. Taylor, the founder of Symmetry, actually said once, breathing through the mouth is okay, time to time, but it's kind of like drinking pond water. Like it's not going to kill you, but it's probably not the best for you if you're doing it all the time.
Okay, so for those of you who are writer downers, this is your writer downer. Breathe through your nose. When in doubt, breathe through your nose. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that also helps get 50% more resistance when you breathe through your nose. So it creates greater oxygen uptake in the blood, which helps us get it into the tissues, including the brain, which obviously we need. So that's number one. And if you're breathing through your mouth, for all of our super stressed people out there, it keeps you in a more stressed state. Often you're breathing into the chest, using our secondary respiratory muscles, neck and shoulders. There's my little toddler car in the background. So that kind of leads me to the next thing, which is breathing lower, using the diaphragm, which is our main breathing muscle. So we've got breathe through the nose and then breathe lower. which Sam, you kind of mentioned it earlier when we started out with the 4-7-8 breath, but breathing lower and specifically using the diaphragm can actually help with posture. So it helps support our hips, our low back. It will relieve hopefully some of the tension in your neck and shoulders, because if you're breathing through your mouth up into your chest, you're using those secondary respiratory muscles often, and it's creating a lot of load here that is not meant to be carried there. Hi to those of you still joining.
For anybody who doesn't know, hey Kim, hey Cheryl, can you tell people where the diaphragm is? I'm not sure everybody knows.
Yeah, so great question. The diaphragm is kind of this domed muscle that's nestled right up underneath the ribs. And it's kind of like like an umbrella. So it's shaped like this. And when it pulls down, your lungs inflate. So it's creating this kind of vacuum effect. And then when it domes up, the air goes out of the lungs. So really, it's the diaphragm that's creating that almost wave-like breath where, and people will talk about like a belly breath, but it's really starting from the diaphragm. So using the diaphragm properly, on your inhales, it flattens down, again, lungs inflate, and on the exhales, it domes up, air goes out of the lungs. And it works, and now I'm getting into the weeds because I'm a huge nerd and I could talk about this all day, but it also works in conjunction with your pelvic floor. So, and everybody has a pelvic floor, for the record. It's not just women that have pelvic floor, but often women are the ones talking about it a lot. But men, everyone has a pelvic floor, and the diaphragm works with the pelvic floor to relax as well as contract.
And I just want to chime in here. So I know that for me, and for those of us with a theater background or a performance background, we learn diaphragmatic breathing very early and have to use it a lot. If you've ever wondered how a performer like makes a sound that can fill up an entire theater, or it can speak in such a way that they can be heard all the way in the back row of the amphitheater, even outdoors, that's from from the amount of support that the air in diaphragmatic breathing the air can give you. And Joey, I know athletes must learn this as well too, right? Oh wait, baby, you're muted. There you are.
We use breath a lot, and it is probably the number one thing that helped with my performance, my ability to perform on the stage.
Amazing. All right, Lauren, tell us more. Oh, now we're getting some more that shit sound.
I'm not done. My hands up. Is it still happening?
It's better now. There we go.
Okay. I won't move in case it's me. So we've got breathe through the nose, breathe lower using the diaphragm. And with the diaphragm too, the ribs expand from side to side. We're looking for a 360-degree breath. So often, again, I mentioned that belly breath that people talk about a lot. The biggest part of your lungs are actually in the lower back. So we're looking for, like, if you put your hands on your ribs like you're Superman and the thumbs to your back ribs, if you take an inhale, can you feel even the ribs, the back ribs pushing into the thumbs and the ribs expanding laterally into your hands? And we really want to watch to keep the shoulders down. And again, this is on your everyday breathing. If we're talking about athletic performance, like Joey was talking about too, it's a different animal, because there are times that you will need to breathe through your mouth. That being said, so we've got in and out through the nose on a daily basis, breathing lower using the diaphragm. And the last thing is breathing slower. So Sam, I love that you started again with this 4-7-8 breath, because we know that especially a slower exhale is more calming to the nervous system, kicks on the parasympathetic or our rest and digest. So that longer exhale is really important, but also just slowing the breath down overall will keep us in a less stressed state. So often people are breathing at a respiration rate in the high teens. And actually the optimal rate of breathing is about 5 to 6 breaths per minute. So that's probably not realistic if you're out and about, but all that to say, if we really focus on slower inhales and slower exhales, we're going to be able to use our oxygen more optimally, which just helps support every system in the body.
So Lauren, can you demonstrate for us what a faster breath pattern might look or feel like, and what a slower breath pattern might look or feel like?
Yeah. So again, we like to do either the Superman breathing, which is what I was talking about with hands on the ribs, or you can give yourself kind of a hug, like forearms over the ribs and belly, and kind of holding your sides there. And so if you breathe in for a count of, let's say let's all exhale first so that we're on the same page. So breathe out and then breathe in through the nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. Little pause. And then out for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause at the bottom. In for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Out for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. And we'll do one more just for fun. In for 4, 1. Pause. Out for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause.
Ooh, that felt good.
Yeah, right? And it's kind of this like instant little almost soothing salve, for lack of a better description right now.
And I definitely felt my shoulders go.
Yeah.
Doing that.
Versus and let's just go the complete opposite way. Like if you put your hand on your chest and we'll go in and out through the mouth, like a puppy panting, you kind of feel the chest go. We won't go for too long, and then maybe do a little hold.
Right.
You'll hold your breath for, 10 seconds or so, just to let the blood get, no, not that we did that for long, but you could even with that short amount of time, maybe feel the heart rate start to pick up, maybe get a little sweaty or kind of feel your energy pick up. So, we can also use it as a tool the other way. If you need a little pickup in the afternoon, instead of reaching for a cup of coffee, there are some faster breath patterns that we can use also to kind of kickstart the system.
I love what you were saying about expanding the back of the ribs. I actually paid a vocal coach recently because I was about to go do record the audio version of my new book. Right?
Yeah.
Go to the studio, and it had been a long time since I'd done any voice work. And I've, as you guys know, maybe some of you know as well, I've had long haul COVID for the last 2.5 years. So I've spent a lot of the last 2.5 years in bed. The deconditioning is real. And and I was just concerned that my voice, that I didn't have the same vocal strength and agility I did when I was performing, 8 shows a week. So I booked a time with this vocal teacher. He was great. And one thing he taught me was expand those back ribs just a little bit. Just set those back ribs, breathe into there. And it's like magic. Not only did I have all the vocal stamina I needed for 2 or 3 days to record this audiobook, but all of a sudden I sing on pitch every time now. Like it improved my singing. And I'm like, and now I'm walking around the house like, I can sing. It's a lot of fun. Okay, I wasn't on pitch right then, but I was making a comedy, funny joke. Okay. So I'm so glad you introduced that. Lauren, what is the rainstorm on your microphone? What's happening?
I don't know. Something's happening over here.
Sounds like someone's dragging furniture around your house.
No, I kicked everybody out.
She's intentionally trying to stress us out so that the breath work has a higher level of impact.
I really don't know what it
Good teacher. That was great, Lauren. Any more sort of thoughts around taking control of your breath in order to take control of your own success?
Yeah, I think the one thing that everybody needs to know is that these changes don't happen overnight. And a lot of the times, people get frustrated. They're like, it's breathing, or like, why can't I get this? It's like, I'm assuming most of us watching are adults, and you've been breathing a certain way your entire life. So it's going to take time to change these physiological patterns, and also like the mindset patterns that come with it. So don't get discouraged. I know that's easy for me to say, but work on not getting discouraged. It will come. It just takes practice. So a lot of patience, a lot of grace. And if you have questions, I am passionate about helping people with this stuff. So, happy to answer any questions that people have.
That's awesome. Amazing. Thank you so much. Joey, tell us about getting set for, now that we've calmed down a little bit, which I think is like definitely step one. How do we set ourselves up for greater success?
Absolutely. Yes. I don't know about all of you, but I feel refreshed and ready to tackle some goals now that I've done a little bit of breath work. And there are so many factors that go into achieving our dreams. And there's a summary of my top tips when you signed up for this webinar. You could have grabbed that. And I believe Sam is going to drop it into the chat as well.
Yep.
But just curious, have you ever had a dream? A goal that seems out of reach, maybe, or that causes others to tell you not to waste your time trying to achieve something so unlikely?
Mm.
I heard that a lot growing up. You're too small to be a professional athlete. You're too small to be an Olympian. You're too small to play sports in college. You'll never get there. You're not good enough. I heard that narrative a ton. Thankfully, even as a young person, I was able to channel that into additional motivation. But for a lot of people, maybe that shoves your dream into a deep, dark hole and you've almost forgotten about it. And maybe it even makes you a little bit sad to think about the fact that you didn't go for it. And one of the things that I would say is we are never too old to chase a dream. If there is something within you that wants to achieve anything, there's a way to get there. When I was in the third grade, our teacher had us write a letter to ourselves, and she held on to those letters and mailed them to us years later. And what an amazing moment in my life to be graduating from high school and be reminded of my third grade dreams of being a professional athlete. I was just getting ready to go off to college and had this little boost. It was like past Joey was sending future Joey or current Joey a little bit of encouragement, like, you've still got this, you can do this. When I went through college, Lauren and I went to college together, which is super fun. We went to a small Division III school. I allowed society's narrative to filter into my brain, my being, my soul. And by the time I was getting ready to graduate from college, the dream of being a professional athlete, the dream of being an Olympian had fallen from my reality. I had allowed the narrative of you're only good if you go Division I. You are only going to go anywhere from a big D1 or Power 5 school kind of narrative. And I was about to cross the stage to graduate. I got a call from my parents about a week before that. And they said, we signed you up for a Team Canada softball tryout. You did what? I was so angry at them because I was so deeply rooted now in this narrative that I wasn't going to be good enough and I was just going to embarrass myself. This is one of the very few things they made me do. And I'm so thankful that they did. I showed up to that tryout. I was so nervous. I had not gotten a handle on my breathing yet at this point, Lauren. And I performed pretty terribly to my standards. Thankfully, the coaches saw something in me. I got an invite to the final camp where I started to play a lot better. That belief started to rise back in me. The past Joey, that third grade Joey, that high school Joey who'd written an autobiography titled Future Olympian started to come back. By the end of that tryout, I was one of the final cuts. And I was devastated, absolutely devastated. So in a 2-week span, I went from thinking I don't deserve to be here to I can do this. Oh my goodness. And I get sent home. I worked my tail off that whole next year and went back to the open tryouts. This time I said, I'm going to this open tryout. I went back to the tryout, made it to the final camp, made it to the final roster, and went on to have a 12-year career with many ups and downs, including COVID and a delayed Olympic Games. So many stories within that. But that's a very long-winded way of saying that your dreams matter. No matter what society has told you, other people have told you, your own narrative has told you. Sometimes we're battling ourselves. Often we're battling ourselves. You matter. Your dreams matter. They are valid. And if there's something that you really want, we can absolutely help you get there.
I love this so much. And I really want everybody to take a moment and think back to that third grade self. Who was that young person And what did that young person want? I remember at that exact same age, telling my teacher that I wanted to be an actor and a writer and a teacher. And you know what? Here I am, an actor and a writer and a teacher.
I love that.
And I think at the time I got a little bit like, well, you sort of have to pick one, Sam. And those are very, maybe something with a job attached to it and stuff. And I was like, nope, I got this. I've made up my mind. So what does your, 8, 9, 10-year-old self have to say to you today? And I think getting a little clear too on what some of those messages you might have internalized, maybe even without knowing it. I have a little thought experiment I love to do sometimes where I say, like, picture a board meeting, like a corporate board meeting. And now make all of those people not white. And now make all of those people not men. And now, we go, oh, right. Right. Our natural assumptions about who's in charge and what's possible for us are, and I was raised all feminist, free to be you and me, first wave feminism, second wave feminism. I was all about all of it. But even I have voices in my head that say, well, you can't really do that. That's not really possible for you. Right. So this is very good. So how do we move now? If we've identified some of those dreams that maybe still are tapping on our shoulder and saying, like, I think I'd like to do that thing. And we don't have parents to sign us up for success school. What do we do next?
I think sitting with that and really defining what your goal is so important. Being very detailed and clear on what does that look like for you, taking time to separate what your surroundings have led you to believe versus what you are feeling inside. Oftentimes we kind of go along with the crowd, or we've heard something so many times or from so many people that we actually have started to believe it. So sitting with that dream, sitting with that goal, getting deep into that, figuring out with clarity, what is it that I want to achieve? And is it me that wants to achieve that? So that defining that goal, figuring out who can support you on this journey is a really important piece. Is there someone that you see a lot? Someone you live with, someone you talk with every day, someone you can intentionally reach out to, have them commit to helping you get there. Figuring out how you can support yourself, right? What is it that gets in your way typically? On our survey, when you were signing up for this session, a lot of that came back, lack of motivation, maybe a lack of discipline, distractions, inconsistency, a lack of self-belief, needing some encouragement, lacking motivation. And I think with all of those things, when we can identify what those things are, we can set up some systems of support around us. Either we can do that ourselves or we can recruit others to help us through that. I think another thing that came up a lot was feeling overwhelmed, right? Or maybe not knowing where to start. And really figuring out a bite-sized piece you can start with. Now that I'm on an entrepreneurial journey, I remind myself all the time, I did not become an Olympian in one day or 1 week or 1 month or 1 year. It took many, many years, many mistakes, many times recalibrating, a lot of support from other people, figuring out a lot about myself. And that reminder in itself helps me get back on the horse, right? Is there one small thing I can do today? That's honestly my goal right now on this journey of building a business. What is one thing that I can do today that is going to help me down the road? And it's amazing how when you do those tiny little things, how much they add up and can impact that outcome on the other side.
When I was working as full-time as an actor, I had a rule for myself that I had to do at least one thing a day for my acting career, because I was also, of course, I had 3 part-time jobs and a full-time job, and I was running a house, and I had a theater company, and I had all the things were happening all the time. But when you are doing something where there is no external real way to gauge your success, when you're building a business, a little bit income, revenue, all these things, but there seems to be sort of an infinite number of things you could be doing, and we're not really sure which lever to pull that's really going to make a difference. And so it's a lot of pressure and a lot of, can feel a lot of confusion, and a lot of that word we hear a lot, overwhelm. Right. But as long as I made the rule of like, no, I have to do one thing a day. And whether that's rehearsing a monologue that I'm working on, or going to acting class, or going on audition, or being on set, or going to a costume fitting, or calling a casting director that I know, like, it had to be one thing. And as long as I had done one thing, I could be like, okay, now you can spend the rest of the day doing whatever. But even that simple metric moved me out of, I have too many things. Like, we only have to do one, and into some consistent daily movement, which I will talk about more later. But so I love this. So identifying the dreams that are really still in our heart, because to be fair too, there's some dreams that, you know, come and go. That, like, yes, I wanted that when I was 13, but I'm actually not gonna let my 13-year-old make my decisions for my life right now.
That would be scary.
A little bit. I love what you're saying about finding some support, finding a friend. And we all have that friend who, you know, if you tell your friend you're going to be up to this X, Y, or Z, they are going to hold your feet to the fire every time. And those friends are precious. So getting some support. And what else? How else can we move forward on getting our dreams and goals actually done?
I would encourage everyone to absolutely take a look at the top 10 tips to actually achieving your goals.
Mm-hmm.
Link is right there. And the thing that I would layer on top of those top 10 tips is that all of those things relate back to how well we know ourselves. Mm-hmm. So how can we dive a little deeper on, you know, what gets us going, what stops us, what frustrates us, what actually gets us out of bed in the morning, what I might need from other people so that I can communicate that to others. And doing that work is the most important overarching piece that impacts everything else along this journey. If I don't know that I thrive when I feel loved and wanted, that's literally all I want in life. I've discovered that.
Yeah. If
I didn't know that, I couldn't share that with my teammates going through the Olympic process. I couldn't share that with someone. There's a photo from the Olympics. I had one of my personally most frustrating moments for all you Americans. I got thrown out at home plate playing the US in a 1-0 game. And there is a wonderful photographer that caught that moment when I got right back to the dugout. I have dirt all over my face. I look terrible. Like, I'm so upset in that moment. And I have a teammate in the frame coming over to just connect with me, to let me know that everything's okay. We still got you. It's all good. And had I not known that about myself, I wouldn't be able to communicate that to my teammates. Then there'd be no teammate in that frame there to help me in that moment. So the more we can get to understand ourselves, the more we can do for ourselves, the more we can share with our friends and loved ones and colleagues what we might need from them.
I feel like too that this is a real antidote to the concern of like, what if I get my goal? What if I achieve my goal and then it's not everything I really wanted? You know, what if I get to the destination, but it's not what I thought it was going to be? That when you are maintaining your self-awareness all the way along the journey, not only will the journey itself be worth it because of what you learn about yourself, because of how you grow, because of how you're able to impact other people in the world, but also you're less likely to end up at a destination where you're like, oh, wait, it turns out I hate this.
Yes, absolutely. And no matter where you are in life, whether you have taken every personality assessment on the planet, you have become more self-aware. Yes, me also. You have worked to understand more and more things about yourself. It is a lifelong journey. I'm still learning more things about myself. We all evolve as we go. Being on top of that and diving deeper into that. No, every single person I've ever worked with, young, experienced, anywhere in between, they've said, oh, I know nothing about myself, or they've said, I know myself really well. Every single one of those people has discovered something new that unlocks a different level within their life. So I think it's so important to look in the mirror, do the work, figure out a little bit more about yourself, and see how much more powerful you feel, how much more authentically you show up in the world. And that does so much for achieving our goals.
And I can't understate the importance of working with a coach. You know, I don't know how anybody builds a business without a coach. I don't know how anybody honestly succeeds at anything without a coach. Partly because I know enough about myself to know that words of praise, verbal praise is like my catnip. I also need to feel loved and appreciated. If I'm working and I don't see results, I don't feel the love and appreciation coming back at me, I get very sad and very discouraged very quickly. If, on the other hand, I get sufficient love and encouragement, I will work for pennies forever.
Well, you're doing great, Sam.
Thank you, Joey. You looked fantastic, by the way, and I really admire your clarity in this talk. Well done. Okay. So we'd love to hear from you guys. What's getting in your way? What's stressing you out? What strategies would you like to help de-stress? And where are you with your goal setting? How are you doing with not, with moving forward on the things that were important to you when you were a kid, that maybe were important to you when you were a young person, or that are important to you now? How can we help you maybe get a little unstuck right here in real time? After all, you've got 3 of the world's best success coaches right here working for free. Well, okay, working for verbal praise, but and a sense of community. I mean, we really wanted to do this just because we were so enjoying talking to each other about what we do. And we thought, well, we should just get on camera and do this for the people. So go ahead and type in if you are on one of the other. So we're on StreamYard right now, but we're also broadcasting to Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. I may or may not be able to see your comments there. So if you're asking a question, you're like, Sam, I already asked one. Well, I'm having a technical difficulty because I can't always see all the comments. But we will circle back around and answer you for sure. So what, I'm just trying to think if there's any like burning question. What's bubbling up for you guys? What question are you feeling that might be out there?
I think this might kind of lead right into what you're going to talk about, Sam. But I think a lot of people, when they're looking at change or starting something new or wanting to, in my world, start a breath practice, they're like, well, I don't have any time. When am I going to add that in? And what we talk about a lot is like, you don't need to have an hour, 3-hour morning routine or evening routine. Like we talk a lot about the transitions in your day. So finding the quiet places to refocus on your breath while the coffee's brewing, while your water is heating up for the shower, at a red light, in line for pickup for kids, or waiting in line at the grocery store. Like there are these little pockets of time throughout the day that don't add an extra thing that you have to do into your day. So just wanted to remind people of that for one. And also, Sam, I know you're going to talk about getting it done and how to do that in a shorter amount of time. But I think that's an obstacle a lot of people come across, especially in our world. Is like, I don't have time. I don't have time to sit down and do all these things. So
100%. And I thank you for mentioning that. I think the real, and I love what you're saying about taking this time that's otherwise sort of non-time, the times you spend in line, waiting for the toll booth, waiting for the clerk, in line at the post office, whatever it is, in line at pickup. Like, take those moments, because that's time too. And especially for something that works as fast as restoring your breath, you really can just do 90 seconds and really change your whole day. And I have been reminded over and over again lately, so I'm just going to say this out loud because maybe somebody here needs to hear it too. A bad moment doesn't mean a bad day. A bad day doesn't mean a bad week. A bad week does not mean a bad season. A bad season does not mean a bad life. Like, what you are going through is temporary, no matter how not temporary it feels. Everything is temporary. And your ability to stay calm, stay connected to your inner self, stay connected to the people who love and care for you, and continue to ask yourself, what is the lesson? Where am I going? What am I getting out of this? How is this working for me? Is a great way to make sure that, first of all, your life is not on autopilot. because I see that happen sometimes. All of a sudden people wake up and they're like, wait a minute. A couple of minutes ago, I was 27 and now I'm 47 and I don't really know what's happening. So, all these tips we're giving you really have to do with about staying present in your life and being the center of your life, right? I like to think of us as if we're a wagon wheel, we are the center, we are the hub. And all these spokes, all these things that keep trying to pull you off yourself. Well, my work needs me. Well, my kids need me. Well, my job needs me. Well, my religious organization needs me. Well, my volunteer needs me. Okay, you let yourself get pulled all the way off there, you're going to be spinning. You stay in the center of the hub, you get to be the calm center and let everything move around you, right? So, great. Kim says, I like the reminder about taking those small steps. Yes, that's how everything happens, you guys. Everything happens with small steps.
Yes. And before you jump into that, I have one thing that popped into my brain as you were talking, just about how we often allow those small moments, those hiccups, those challenges to derail us, to feel like we're having a bad day, even though it only started with one thing that then spiraled. Someone once said to me, if you have a pocket full of 20s, you've got $100 in your pocket, and you take them out to pay and realize that somewhere along the way you dropped a 20, you won't just throw that $80 away and be like, oh, all my money's gone. What a terrible day. Right? Be like, okay, I now have $80. Yes, that stinks. What can I do with my $80? Can we use that in our life? Right? I had a bad moment. It was a moment. Excuse me. Yeah. It was a moment. It was not my whole day. It was not my whole week. Can I reset and make the best of the rest of this day? And often those moments, standing in line, sitting at a red light that we've talked about already, are perfect moments to do that. And if we can use those moments intentionally to connect with our breath, to reset our minds, as opposed to allowing those moments to further derail us, because when we're in that space, we naturally fill it with the negative if we're not intentional.
Yeah, we are absolutely a little bit negatively programmed. Our mind will automatically go to the things that haven't worked. You do something, 99 people tell you how amazing it is. One person says one thing that's a little teeny tiny bit critical, and that is all you hear, yes. Right? So again, that's not low self-esteem. There's nothing wrong with you. That's our natural way to be. It's more important for our brain to remember the berry that makes us sick or the behavior that might be dangerous than it is for us to remember the behavior that's generally approved of. So it is not, like I said, it's not, there's nothing wrong with you that we tend to be slightly negatively programmed, but it is something you can counter. The other thing I'm loving about finding these little otherwise unidentified pockets of time, because my favorite is in line at the grocery store. And in general at the grocery store. I like grocery shopping. I like cooking, so I like grocery shopping. And I love making connections with people in the grocery store. Well, this is an amazing machine. Oh, my kitties. You can't even see it. They're there. It serves to separate us as much as it serves to connect us, right? And what I have found is that taking that moment of standing in the grocery store line to recenter myself, take some breaths, and then actually, make eye contact and connect with the other people who are there. Have a little conversation with the person who's checking me out. I got a whole recipe for a beet thing, like a thing to do with beets that I'd never thought of before. Chit chat about the weather, like just be in the same place at the same time. I really miss those little conversations we used to have waiting at the dentist's office, in line somewhere, like all of a sudden, it's sitting at the airport, what used to be time we connected with other people is now time we stare at our phones. And I'm super shy and introverted too. I'm not little, like, let's go and talk to strangers person. That doesn't make me comfortable. But in a confined environment like the grocery store line, I can do it. And I can say like, oh, you got the smoked turkey. Do you like that? Or, I don't know, anything. And And I find that those moments of connection with people, with strangers, with people in my town or neighborhood really brighten me up. Really brighten me up, bring me into the present moment. Remember, like, oh, that's right. This is what we do. We're people who care for each other. Christy brings up a fantastic question. She says, I have so many things I want to achieve. Who else has that feeling? I have so many things I want to achieve. I want to lose 25 pounds, write a book, start a planner business. I have a full-time job and kids. I find myself spending so much time on learning and trying to change my mindset, trying to lose weight, and just a little time on my writing and business dreams. How do I stop the I have to lose weight and I have to change my mindset before I take action on writing and business? Thank you. Oh, Christy. I'm so glad you asked this question. So here's a little mindset game for you. I mean, one thing, you can't lose 25 pounds right now. You can't start a planner business right now. You can't write a book right now. You can't. It's not possible. But you can write 250 words. You can make a snack choice that's lower calories than another snack choice. You can take a deep breath instead of having a snack entirely. You can, right? So these goals that you want are not, I don't think you've got a mindset problem, sweetheart. I'm just going to say it. I don't think you have a mindset problem. I think that you just need to weave these goals into your moment by moment existence. Keep them right in the front of your mind. The other thing I will suggest, and now this is the Sam Bennett portion of the presentation. None of you will be surprised to hear me say, spend 15 minutes a day on something that matters to you. Spend 15 minutes a day on something that matters to you. Spend 15 minutes a day on your writing. Spend 15 minutes a day on your business. Maybe alternate those things. This whole thing of like, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time. You do. You're just spending it on other things. I'm going to say that again. You do have time. We all have time. We all get the same 24 hours. Joy doesn't get more time than I do. No, Lauren doesn't get more time. We all have the same 24 hours. You get to decide how to spend it, or at least some of it. And I know the magazines and the books love to talk to us like, well, you should be working out for 4 hours a week. It's like, really? Which 4 hours would that be? Point those out to me, please. I think that's really challenging. It's not impossible, but it's challenging. But 15 minutes, you've got. 15 minutes you can do. I think, well, that's not enough time to get anything done. Ha ha. Try it. Try it. I run a daily practicum, right? So every weekday at 12 noon Eastern, it's a subscription thing. You can buy it. You can get them. Go to therealsambennett.com and get the sign up for it. We get on the Zoom. We say hello. Start the timer. 15 minutes later, timer goes off. I say, yay, that's done. And people look up at me with this like post-orgasmic glow every day. Oh my gosh. I made that phone call I'd been putting off for 3 weeks. Oh my gosh, I cleared away this pile of paper. Oh my gosh, I sat out in the garden with the sun on my face for 15 minutes. Oh my gosh, I did 15 minutes of breathing. I did 15 minutes of really analyzing my goals and seeing which ones I really do want to follow through on. I reconnected with a friend. I played guitar. I danced. I boogied. I stared into the eyes of my puppy. Like, I don't care what you do for 15 minutes. I just care that it matters to you. And when you spend that little bit of time on something that matters to you and your heart and your body and your life and your family and your community, you are a better person. You are a more committed person. You are a person who is in motion. And we all know a body in motion, more likely to stay in motion. So I suggest finding that 15 minutes first thing in the morning, because otherwise the day tends to get away from me. And if you ask me to do anything at between 3 and 4, I'm going to be like, I can't. Right? So I suggest doing it first thing, but do what works for you. And especially, again, for those of you who have kids, I know I said that we all get the same 24 hours a day. I think people with children, and especially small children, you actually don't quite have the same amount of time as the rest of us. So you get a little bit of a free pass on having young children. But if they're anything above toddler age, they know how to leave you alone for 15 minutes. They can leave you alone for 15 minutes. They really can. And if they can't, that would be something else to work on. So Christy, there's one more thing I really want to say to you and to everyone, which is that I hear this a lot where people are sort of waiting for the confidence. Like, I would try this, but I'm not confident. I think I need to lose weight first, or I think I need to do, XYZ first. Confidence doesn't come first. Confidence comes after. I wish it came first. I wish I could say, you're going to feel great, and then you're going to do it, and you're going to feel even better. But that's not how it goes. You're going to feel uncertain. You're going to feel like you're probably doing it wrong. You're going to feel shaky or overly ambitious, or however you feel. But you spend 15 minutes, and then you do it again the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And in not very long of a time, you'll see some results. And then you start to feel confident. Oh, look, I got some results. Oh, look, I sold a thing. Oh, look, I had 8 people download the draft of my planner, and now I'm getting feedback from them. Oh, look, the scale is down, 1.5 pounds. Oh, look, right? We make the changes and do the thing first, and then we get the results and the confidence that comes from the result. So you're going to have to take that leap of faith. You're going to have to just jump in there and go, this isn't going to be perfect. This may not even be right. But I'm putting 15 minutes into it every single day until I get another answer, until something else is revealed to me, right? Okay. Joey says, I love the 15 minutes a day idea for those things that we feel we don't have time for. Maybe posting a reminder on your fridge or mirror or coffee mug to take your intentional 15 minutes, or set a reminder on your phone for a time of day that works best for you, can be a great place to start. I love that. I love that. So here we are. We've got another couple minutes till top of the hour. Does anybody have any questions about getting calm, about getting clear on your goals, or about how to find even just tiny little fractions of time in which to move forward? Because the world doesn't happen very much in leaps and bounds. It happens with these little acts of courage, right? Those little, like, I'm going to show up for that tryout. I'm going to stop, not get angry at that jerk in the parking lot, but rather I'm going to take some deep breaths. I'm not going to let myself get freaked out by what happens at that meeting. I'm going to take some deep breaths. I'm not going to let myself feel discouraged by how big a job it is to write a book or build a business. I'm going to spend 15 minutes and see how far I get, right? Sherelle says, at this point in my life, all those past things are making sense. I have 2 elements that I have to bring to people. 1, living in quantum awareness, and 2, clearing stress easily. At 74, and the 15 minutes is great. Thank you, Sherelle. Yes, yes, yes. You are not too old. It's not too late. You didn't miss the boat. Nobody's ahead of you. This idea that somehow success is a ladder and life is a road and it's a race. None of those things are true. None of those things are true.
I think that is one thing that overwhelms so many people, the comparison game.
Oof.
And social media and the internet has made that 100 times worse than it was in the past. And can we limit our time on social media? Can we be aware of that and how it makes us feel? One of the things I did was a social media cleanse, in where I was very intentional to unfollow any account that was dragging me down or was making me feel less than or doubting myself. And just the clarity that provided me moving forward. How many female empowerment accounts I follow now that I open up social media and I feel like an absolute badass. It's an incredible shift.
That's so important too, because we're very quick to sort of point the finger at, like, oh, it's this, or oh, it's that, oh, social media is bad. Well, it can be, but almost anything can be. You get to decide how you want to interact with it. You get to decide how much time to give it. And certainly, yeah, watch what goes into your brain, because it's very hard to get it out once it's in there. So to surround yourself by models, by people that you love what they're up to, you love how they're saying it, you love how themselves they're being, even if they are or aren't in your field, who can you admire and look up to and emulate a little bit? And then who can you delete, unfollow, unsubscribe? Thank you very much. And Lauren, from the inside of your aircraft carrier.
I still don't know why that's where I am. Like, I can't figure it out. So sorry about that. But to add to that, I think it's a trickle down effect, right? Like we've got this, I feel like I'm just talking about like from a physiological perspective, but like the neuroplasticity of our brain, right? The more we think a certain way, the more we're going to think in that way. And if we take the time, the awareness, these little, the 15 minutes or the transitions in our day to start to kind of change our way of thinking, not only is it going to have a huge impact on your life, but also there's a trickle down effect. Like for those of you with kids, like they're going to see that modeled. They're going to see you taking that 15 minutes a day to really work on what you want to work on, or calming yourself down with a breath instead of freaking out on them. So modeling that behavior, it's really wild how it affects everybody around you, family, friends, otherwise. Like it's noticeable. So it's worth it. And I think, we were talking about earlier, a moment doesn't mean, like a bad moment doesn't mean your day has to be bad. And at the same time, it's never too late to start, first of all, and it's never too late to restart. You don't have to wait for January 1st or Monday or the first of the month or tomorrow. Like you can restart with your next breath. So I think that's something that people also it would be helpful to keep in mind.
You can restart with your next breath. That's a writer downer. That's so good. Yes, you can restart with your next breath. And I actually really love starting not on the first of the month or not on the Monday or not on the, but like sort of coming in the side door on some of my goals and ambitions. I'm a big fan of a lot of 12-step programs, and like, just for today, I'm going to see how it feels if I, try to have slightly less sugar in my tea. Just for today. I'm not saying I'm giving up sugar. I'm not making a big thing about it. I'm just going to experiment for today on how that feels. I'm just going to try 15 minutes today. I'm not saying I'm going to do it tomorrow. I may not. I'm not sure. But just give yourself these gifts of these little pockets of time, because we're all waiting, right? We're waiting for the 3 weeks in Provence to work on our novel. We're waiting for the 2 free weekends in a row to clear out the garage. We're waiting for, the moment we feel so confident and, but that moment where you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to wake up some morning like, yay, I feel totally confident and have all the energy and time and money in the world. Let's do this thing. Like, it's not coming, people. That moment is not coming. I mean, I hope it does come, but really, we have to work with today. Kim says, I never do social media. I find it a time suck, but my email is another story. I'm in there every day, 3 times a day. Well, that puts you at a lot less than most people. Most people are in their email. I think it's like 25 or 30 times a day. The wonderful thing about email and the way it is right now is it's very rare for something urgent to come through email, right? We love to deal with it because it's right in front of us and we feel like, oh, I'm checking things off the list. I'm doing things. We get that little dopamine hit of like, oh, I'm useful. I'm doing things. But not so much. Do the important stuff first. Do the big rocks first. Take the breath first. Spend the 15 minutes on your goals first. Then look at your email. And then prioritize. Not everything needs to be responded to right away. Not everything needs to be responded to at all. And again, unsubscribe. You can always resubscribe. No notifications, nothing pings, no pinging. I think we can all say, as goal setting experts, the pings will mess you up. So no pings. Good. Well, thank you all so much for taking the time to be here with us. It was lovely to see so many of you stick around for the whole hour. That was delightful. We pulled this together just sort of for fun. So I hope that you will be sure to check out Lauren's Symmetry syndicate.com stress-assessment. It's a lot of S's. symmetrysyndicate.com /stress-assessment. And that will also get you on her list, and you can find out more about her and her work. And also Joey's Joey-Lie, so JOEY-LYE.com /10-tips. And you can get her a free download that'll just help keep you remembering and focused on what really is going to work for you. I'm Sam Bennett at therealsambennett.com. You can find me on all the socials as therealsambennett.com. Sherelle says, thanks everyone for putting it together. And Sam, great to reconnect. Great to see you, Sherelle. Everyone, let's do one more breath to close out our circle, shall we? Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Joey, Lauren, I love hanging out with you guys. Peggy says, thank you. Very helpful advice. Kim says, this was great. We're happy to oblige. Hope it helps. And please stay in touch with us. Let us know how all this resonates for you because, you know, we love you guys. So
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for being here, everyone. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
thanks. Big kiss, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.